Hey there guys, and welcome back to Nimby Rails. I've been doing some thinking since I last tried to set up a timetable service, and I have worked out what I'm doing. I know how it works now, I know how to do what I wanted to do and get it all working properly. It was a long process. So at the moment we're looking at the timetable for the one line. That's the only line I've got all the track for, so the one that I've been setting up first. And yes, I did have to use this, but not in this form. The first step consisted of moving that into this form. So this is an Excel spreadsheet with the entire timetable for the week in it. We've got the southbound services and the northbound services. I've shrunk it down to just the origin and destination station for each direction. And you'll see they all line up. One southbound lines up with its corresponding northbound in the other direction. I then went through and numbered all of the trains. So I've effectively made a timetable of schedules for individual trains. This would just be a working timetable in any other world, but I can't find one for the New York subway, so I've had to effectively make it myself and guess at times. So you'll see as we go down, the numbers start going in weird orders. Over on the right, I've just got where trains go to and from depots, because that's also quite useful information to know. And if I just scroll down, you'll see this is Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, and so on and so forth. So this is my big long document now. I managed to get the train numbers to loop round, so at the end of the week, trains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 are the ones left going into the overnight services in Monday morning, which is quite useful because it means that I just need 1 week, which is all Nimby Rails can do. So that's the situation I'm in. I've got the spreadsheet, it works, I've set up the first 3 services. So if I quickly switch over to Nimby Rails now, so here we go. You can probably see in the bottom right hand corner, I've put the spreadsheet up. I'm not sure how visible it's going to be. Basically, if I zoom in too much, it's just impractical for me to use it. So it's there. If your screen happens to be huge enough that it's visible. I doubt it will actually be readable though. So as you can see, I've got the game paused at the moment. If I go into trains, well, actually no, if I go into lines first, because I've had to adjust this slightly. I've also started putting codes in for them. So I've now got Van Cortlandt, that's the full length line, and I've got 137 Street. That's the line only going up as far as 137 Street, then into the yard and back. I've got rid of the 215 Street because that one, it looks like when trains arrive at 215 Street, they are going to the depot up at 240 Street. They're not turning around and going back south again. And if they come into service from the yard, they either come in at Van Cortlandt Park or 238 Street, which makes sense. So I am not bothering with that service, with that old 215 Street service I had. That's unnecessary. I've also got 2 depot services. One is to the yard, that just stops at a new centre platform at 238 Street. Doesn't technically exist, but it allows me to turn around trains on the centre line. And I've got 240 Street to Van Cortlandt Park, which is just again a stop at the centre platform here, and then a stop at Van Cortlandt Park. That allows me to get trains out of the depot up the line. If they're coming out to 238 Street, I don't need this line. They'll just come out at the right time anyway. Any train I send into the yard goes in through the 240 Street yard line, just because it forces them to come in on the centre track and stay out of the way of other stuff. So that's all that. I've then got, as you can see, 3 trains set up. So this is train 1. It's got its orders in. So this train, if I were to filter the spreadsheet, it's a bit awkward to see, but basically it runs back and forth all day on Monday, then goes into a depot at some point Monday evening, comes out again Tuesday morning. So that's what this is. That's going into the depot. Then a tiny bit there, just visible, is coming out of the depot. And then that is back onto back and forth services. And I've done this for the first 3 services. So we've got service 2 there, train 2, and train 3. And they all have different patterns. So I thought today we'll do it for train 4. There are 31 trains in all on line 1. There's 31 total units, and all 31 of them are in use in rush hour. So it's a long process. It takes about 30 minutes to an hour per train, depending on how intensive its schedule is. 4 is actually a really bad one to do as a demonstration because it's got quite a long list of orders, as is 5. I was going to quickly find one that's not got too many instructions and will be quite quick to do. 7's quite quick, or maybe 8. 9. I did find a really quick one. 9 is very quick actually. We'll do 9. So I just need to rename the train quickly. Set it to unit 9, then I know that that is the one I've done and I don't have unit 4 yet. So the trick is to set this orders thing to manual orders, then go to append new order at the bottom. So it appears like that to begin with. You click the arrow next to append new order, and then I'm going to start with the southbound services, so the Van Cortlandt Park to South Ferry services. So I'm going to select the Van Cortlandt line. I'm going to have the trains enter at Van Cortlandt Park and exit at South Ferry. We're going to set it to Monday because that's where we'll start. Have them depart exactly at, and then the first train departs Van Cortlandt Park at 5:17, so we'll append that. We'll have unticked loop until next order, so it'll just do the one service. When it gets to South Ferry, it will stop until such time it needs to depart to form of service next week. However, we are going to add in more services, so the 7:25 and the 9:34. And we just keep going down, changing the time and appending the service throughout the entire week. So it's not a quick process, but it is slightly better than the process I had before. It was about 3 or 4 hours work putting the spreadsheet together. I put a film on while I did it, just to pass the time, because it is tedious at best, copying out all the times from the timetable, and then going through and matching up all of the services, all the train numbers. But it has massively sped up the process of putting the trains into the game, because I don't have to work out what departure each train forms at any given time anymore. That was working to begin with. It worked fine overnight, but when it got to rush hour and more trains started appearing, it became a bit more problematic, because it doesn't just form the next departure more often than not. A train will arrive, then a different train that's already there will depart, and then the train will depart. I've generally tried to keep turnarounds to a minimum of 5 minutes. I think there's a few throughout the day where it goes down to 4 minutes just because there's no other way to do it. There's not enough trains. So here's something interesting. 702 is out of 238 Street, so I'm going to skip that one for now. We'll go straight to 1829, the next. The next departure from Van Cortlandt. There we go, got the words out eventually. Then the 2030. 9:18 on Thursday morning. 9:18. 18:54. And the key is to remember to keep the seconds bit in all the time, because if you forget that, it doesn't go where you want it to. And that has been very annoying for me. There's 10:24, 12:31, 1442. You'll notice I don't have a huge amount of money at the moment. Each of these trains is 10 million, which doesn't help matters. But also, I'm yet to work out a way, I don't know if you can or not, but I haven't worked out how to build just a single blueprint rather than all the blueprints. So when I tried to... So that's Sunday, so we completely skipped Saturday. This train is not in service on Saturday. Yes, when I needed to put in the centre platform at 238 Street, I had to build all the blueprints we've got on Manhattan Island from the last couple of episodes as well. And therefore, yeah, that was problematic. Because that cost a lot more than I had, so I had to leave the game running for a few months just to let the money build up. Buy all the blueprints, then I had nothing. So that's the end of the week there. Now I'm going to do the departures from 238 Street, so that's as simple as just changing the start station to enter at 238 Street instead. Firstly is Wednesday morning. We have the 0702 and the 1622. Then on Thursday we have the 1648 and the 712. Not 1712, just 712. Then we have the 815 on Friday. I think that's it, yes. Then the 137 Street departure on Wednesday is different again. So that means changing the line to /137 Street, setting the entrance stop as the second instance. So this is here the end of the line in effect. You have 137 Street platform 2, 137 Street Yard, 137 Street platform 1. I want the second platform after the yard. And the time is 8:53. We'll append that order. And you'll see it's inserted it there. So that's all of the southbound orders. Now we get to the fun of doing the northbound ones. While I'm on 137 Street, I might as well just do that one quickly. But we need to change the entrance. The entrance will now be Rector Street. You'd think it would be South Ferry? No, it's Rector Street. I don't know why. That's just the best way I've found for it to work. Then the exit is the yard. Not the platform this time, but the yard. And this ensures that the train sits in the yard while it waits, as opposed to in the platform. So then the other matter to consider is our departure time, if you can see it on the Excel spreadsheet, is 8:05 from South Ferry. However, because I'm doing it from Rector Street, I'm actually going to do 8:06:30. I insert that, and you can see here that the actual start time is 8:04:57, so that's close to 8:05. That's what time it will depart South Ferry in order to get to Rector Street to depart at the time I've requested. It's a bit convoluted, but it's the best way I've found to do it. So that's the train to 137 Street. Then we have, going back to the Van Cortlandt route, start at Rector Street again. We have a service that terminates at 215 Street, so we'll select that as the exit point. Again, it's on Wednesday. This is the 9:39:30. We'll append that. And then everything else goes to Van Cortlandt. So we'll now set it to enter at Rector Street, exit at Van Cortlandt Park. So basically what will happen is, on the southbound service, the train will get to South Ferry, and it will then wait there until such time as it needs to depart in order to get to Rector Street in time for its next service. Northbound, it will get to Van Cortlandt Park, and it will wait there until the departure time I've stated. I don't know why it works differently being in the middle of the route as to being at the end of the route. It's a bit weird. I'm trying to ignore it and pretend everything is fine. But yes, so Van Cortlandt Park can be selected for both ends of the route because it's in the middle. South Ferry can only be at the end, have to use Rector Street as the start in the other direction. Go figure. I'm sure there's a perfectly logical reason for it, I've just not thought of it yet. So now we'll start putting in all the northbound services, so 8:30:30. You notice we're doing these on Monday. It's a little disconcerting that the servers I actually have selected is completely different to the one that I'm inserting. Yeah, it's a little confusing, but you should be able to see services appearing, and it's sort of cutting each of these blocks in half. So each of these blocks were a southbound run, and then sit around waiting, and then effectively an express run northbound on what is called a glue line to get ready for the start of the next southbound. Now I'm putting in a fixed northbound run, so it's cutting all the blocks in half for that northbound. 23:40:30, and then that's the end of Monday. So into Tuesday, we have 1:55:30, and this is where the one is possibly not the contradictorily. It's sort of one of the better and one of the worst ones to start with, in that it is 24 hours, which means there's a lot more services going on. It's got quite a varied frequency throughout the day, but at the same time, it's not like it changes calling pattern at all. Some of them terminate a bit early, but none of them skip stops. That's going to be a bit more problematic with others, in that my spreadsheet system doesn't currently have a way to tell me that a train skips a stop, or multiple, I guess. So that will be interesting to determine. I haven't even looked at a timetable for one of those lines to see how the timetable shows it, because the timetable definitely doesn't include every station. 17:25. We have to skip the two going to other places that we've already done. So skip through to Wednesday afternoon. 19:29. 21:35. 8:15. 10:22. 17:49. 19:56. 2200. I'll be honest, I haven't got a clue where I am now. I've lost complete track. I've done something wrong is what I've done. Yes, so the train I've just put in, the 2200, I have to go into edit orders, select the 2200, was meant to be a Thursday. I appear to have two now. Got to take off Wednesday, yes. Okay, I see the problem. The 19:56:30, so that would correlate to, yeah, that's a Thursday service, so Thursday, change one order. 17:49:30 should also be a Thursday. I'm sure there'll be more. Here we go, here's one of them, 9:39. That one might be okay actually. The 10:22, however, is Thursday. So this is what happens when you forget to change the day. You have to then go through and work out which ones you need to switch. Luckily, it's not the end of the world, because there is the edit order function. Right, we're on Thursday. Let's scroll down my spreadsheet a bit. I've just done that one. So actually we're now on Friday. Having said that, it's the 00:10:30. Then 10:20:30, 11:29:30, 13:40:30, 15:48:30, 17:54:30, 20:01:30, 22:05. Then on to Sunday, 10:45. Remember to change the date. You have to select the new day first, then deselect the old one. It has to always have one day selected. That took me a while to work out. I was thinking, why isn't it deselecting this? It's because you needed at least one day selected, which makes sense. And 20:21:30. There we go. So that's all the normal runs in. That one is complaining. I suspected it might. Well, no, I didn't. It's taken me completely by surprise, actually. What is it? So that's a 10:20 on a Friday. There's a 10:24 northbound. Southbound even, which is that one. That is a northbound claiming to be at 10:20 on Friday. I can't see why that would exist. I mean, maybe it was meant to be the 9. Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was meant to be 9, not 10. Change order. There we go. If you've done it correctly, you should see nice evenly spread boxes, roughly. Which means I think I'm missing one here. Let's see. What would that be? There's a 20:01 on the Friday that I remember typing in, but I may have not quite clicked the add order. So we'll add that. There we go, that looks better. So now it's just the depot moves. So I'll just quickly re-enable that so we can see everything. Scroll over a bit. This is a little more complicated to do. The first move is this one, the 4 from Van Cortlandt to the depot at 11:55. So, except we're not doing the 4, we're doing the 9. I just thought I was doing the 4. So what we'll actually do is the first one is this one, from the depot to Van Cortlandt, 5:17. Now when we're leaving the depot, we leave 5 minutes early. It's an arbitrary value I've plucked out of thin air, but it means that the train gets to the station in time. I played around with numbers a bit. That was the closest round number I could get where it didn't complain that it couldn't do the job in time. So that's what we go with. So we're leaving the depot, 240 Street Yard to Van Cortlandt Park. Enter at the first stop, exit at the last stop on Monday. And it's 5:12, we said. 05:12:00. Append order. You see that puts in the little block there. And that means it gets to... it actually gets to Van Cortlandt Park a good 4 minutes early, but it's got to turn around, so that does make sense. Driver's got to get from one end to the other. We ignore the fact that they managed to walk down the train in 30 seconds in the centre track siding there. It's unimportant. So the train then stays out. Does it go back to the depot Monday evening? It doesn't appear to. No. By the looks of it, if you look over here, I've got a nice service running all the way through to Tuesday evening, in fact. There. So, 22:24. We're going to the depot this time, from Van Cortlandt, so we've got to select 240 Street Yard. Tuesday, and we leave 3 minutes after the arrival, so 22:27. This time is just the time it arrives there on its previous service. I have to add 3 minutes. Again, I played around with some numbers. That was what worked best. In that case, you've got to consider the 240 Street Yard route actually starts at 238 Street. So it will depart 238 Street at 22:27. It's got to get there first before then. So that's where part of that 3 minutes goes, at least. On Wednesday, we come out of the depot, but we go out to 238 Street, so that doesn't need anything on my part. Go back into the depot from 215 Street, but it's into the depot, so we do include an instruction. Otherwise, it won't go there at all. From 215 Street, I just take that time because the train is running early at that point. Like, quite significantly early. The game seems to accept it, so I just roll with it. So that's 10:30. Oh, append the new order. If we scroll up, you can see that's inserted it there. The fact that the one before it has not got an exclamation mark means it's happy. If an exclamation mark appears, it's complaining it doesn't have enough time. Wednesday evening, come back out to 238 Street. No, nothing needed there. Back in at 22:31. So, append order. Thursday morning, out to 238 Street, don't need to do anything, in at 11:22. Thursday, and again, out to 238 Street, don't need to do anything for that. In at, now I've got this in the Thursday section, that's actually Friday morning. That's just the way that New York Subway have written their timetable. Any round trip that started from Van Cortlandt Park before midnight counts as the day before. Even if it's technically left South Ferry, the other end of the line, the next morning. So that's 109. 010900. Insert. And then we come back out to 238 Street, don't need to do anything there. Doesn't go back in, so it won't come back out. Goes back in there, 23:03 on Friday evening. So 23:03, append order, that inserts it down here. Then it stays in the depot all of Saturday and comes out on Sunday at 9:28, because we're going to Van Cortlandt Park this time. I do need to do something. So 9:28 on Sunday, append. And there we go, the little sliver is added in. So when you're leaving the depot, you only need an instruction if it's going to be changing direction en route, because the game can't work that out automatically. But to go to the depot, you always need to give it the instruction to do so, otherwise it won't know to do so. 21:20. And with that, that should be the service set up, he says optimistically. Yes, I believe it is. So, if I now close that, I can start the game running. You'll see the train has just spawned down here, I believe. Can't actually select it, which is a bit annoying. Well, it probably was one of those many menus, actually. It's that one. There we go. I've got the train. There we go. Auto scroll the map, so we can follow it. This is service unit number 9. You can see up here, and we can see it's currently Sunday. It's sort of early afternoon Sunday. At about 9 PM, this train will go to bed. So if I accelerate time a little bit, we're now on a northbound service to Van Cortlandt. We should get to Van Cortlandt and then go to the depot. Fingers crossed. So we'll just watch it run up the line quickly. It's about an hour each way, just over. The time it takes the train to traverse the line does vary throughout the day, but I can't do that in the game easily, so it just runs slightly faster than it should do. And there we go, you see it's gone into the depot and it's gone into the first siding. Now the next train coming up may also go into the depot. You never know. I guess we shall see. I actually haven't got a clue. There's a lot of people on board, which suggests to me it might not be going to the depot. Who knows? It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's carrying on. The next train, however, might be. This is... actually, no. No train will be going into the depot, because units 1 through 7 are the ones that run the Sunday night into Monday morning service, and as it's now Sunday evening, 1, 2 and 3 would all be staying out tonight. They would go into depots at other times. It's just a shame, because I was hoping to get 2 trains in the depot at once. But oh well. We'll get 2 trains in the platform at once, and the station at once. That station is nowhere near long enough. I ignore that. I don't think this one's anywhere near long enough either. No, it's really not. Oh well. The later stations are, like the ones down here, are more than long enough. So that's fine. And yes, the using secondary platforms does work, so they do use both platforms at the end stations sometimes. I've just not been able to see if it works in the yard yet, because I've not seen 2 trains in the yard at once. So basically, this is how scheduling works. Or there's the other option that we've done before, that I've done with the temp lines, of just having the trains auto-running the line, and it auto-fills with even spacing, which is a solution. But I prefer this method of having it actually accurate service representation that dies down overnight. The only problem is, it's 31 trains worth of instructions I've got to put in. It's taken me probably about 4 hours this afternoon to put in 4 trains. So it's a long process. I will not be doing a lot of it on camera. I just wanted to show one train, so I can show I have learnt how the system works now. That is going to act as the tutorial, I think, because not doing that again. I think it probably covers pretty much everything. Like, it uses all the variations of lines. It uses the depot line. It uses pretty much every instruction, I think. So it should be a pretty good tutorial, hopefully. But anyway, I will leave it there. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed and want more, and I'll catch you in the next one.